The thing I think people miss is like the analogy goes, if you have a house, you have to obviously do a value add, and you do a value add by making it bigger and nicer. And I tell people with land, there's nothing to actually build yet. So it's a paper process where you get it rezoned, you get it parceled out. But a lot of those conversations start with the city, going to planning and zoning. And I've tried a few of them. And it was very weird for me being a New York guy, because I was like, dude, there's no land in New York. You know what I mean? Like every acre is like every single, they're fitting parking lots everywhere they can do. And then I came out to Chicago and I was like, man, look at all this land. And you realize that like, it's not all good. It's not all bad. But what I realized was when I was trying to work with planning and zoning in New York, I'd sit in the office for 4 hours. There are just two of them in there paying no attention to me, rude, not helpful. And I was like, this is not an area that I want to spend 3 years working with these people that are already difficult. And then the one we wound up doing in Illinois, from day one, it was like, you want me to be your friend because if you win me over, I'll win everybody over. And it was like such a better conversation. So for you and your experience doing this in different places, how important is it, or is it a deal killer if you wind up working with a city that's maybe not so easy to work with?
Great question. So we do it all over the nation. We do it in blue states and red states, right? We do it in pro-growth markets and not so pro-growth markets. And so sure, the jurisdiction that wants to grow, they're developer friendly, their city council's pro-growth. Obviously, there's less friction. Obviously, it's easier to get it through the process. But what I've come to realize, because we were just up in the Pacific Northwest until 5 years ago. And then 5 years ago, we decided to scale nationally. And I was in Oregon and Washington, okay, which are known to be very difficult land use, okay, states based on their color and just their politics, all right? But here's what I've come to realize. Yes, and like Texas is our #1 state. So are they more developer friendly? Yes. But guess what? Guess where I make my highest margins or my highest profits or my highest IRRs? Where do I bring the most value? Because what we all need to be focused on is how do we bring value, right? Like, if you bring value, the rest will take care of itself. So think about it. If I specialize in entitlements, makes sense, logically. I bring the most value in the jurisdictions that are the most difficult to work with. And so I'll be frank with you. If I had to pick, say, a deal outside of Seattle or a deal outside of Dallas, Seattle deal more difficult based upon politics, Dallas deal much easier. I would pick the Seattle deal because the friction is what creates value.
Man, that's deep. I like that.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's a true fighter mentality. I like that. You go where it's difficult. Because you're right. As I was saying it, I was kind of like, as I say this out loud, I feel like I know what he's going to say. And yeah. So
and you're right, though. I mean, everybody will say what you said, right? And I would have until a few years ago, but I've come to realize the way I bring the most value to our country, or I bring the most value to communities, is that I'm willing to strap on my armor and go fight the good fight and get projects approved that other people might not. And therefore, I get the most reward too, or fruit, because I fought the fight.